How's it going, everybody? This is Adam, back again, at least with episode 3 and what should have been episode 4, my Borderlands 3 playthrough. Back to my roots of episode 1 and 2, I got a new microphone and was excited to test it out to see how it was going to work and see how it sounded in these videos. And conveniently, I completely forgot to add it to a track in OBS, so I recorded 2 full videos, all of which had 0 commentary. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I couldn't tell you. But here I am in post-production, at least adding some voiceovers so it's not completely silent while some gameplay goes around. So at least with this video, there is going to be a lot more, I would say, like jump cuts and everything. There's just a lot of, like, filler conversations, at least, that I've seen so far, which isn't to say a whole lot with Borderlands 3, but, like, at least with the twins and everything else, I don't think anybody actually cares if I skip their dialogue. So I basically cut out most of the mobs spawning and everything, because a lot of it is just me, you know, completely decimating 50 to 100 of the same thing, and honestly that's really not engaging anyway. So it's going to be a bit longer of a video, just because it is technically 2 parts here. I don't know if you just saw it on screen, but we did just get a grenade called Moxxi's Bouncing Pear, and for the name in and of itself, that is literally the only reason I bought it. I didn't actually care if it was going to be good or not, but I come to find out, at least with this, that it's kind of a busted grenade. Just like I recently discovered, at least with my shotgun that I bought. It's also kind of busted. And I don't realize that, at least shortly here, coming up anyway, that I wasn't expecting this early in the game to have such, like, strong gear, because normally it's like you level once or twice, and it's just completely invalidated sooner. And Lorelei, with her absolute beauty of words.
It's definitely her, guys. Welcome back, sir.
Sometimes you just gotta be stern, probably, if that's what we're calling it. And once again, now that I'm watching this again, the fact that I almost completely domed 2 civilians was going for the wrong, you know, people there. My first interaction with Moxxi's Bouncing Pear. They bounce a lot, and I've almost died to them on several occasions, but honestly, they were worth buying every second of the day.
Oh, they're about to learn differently. Come on.
Once again, I'm getting backtracked in this game that I'm unable to navigate the map. Sweet talking will get you everywhere.
Come on. We're heading to Watershed Base. It's through here. Maliwan's bloody well entrenched, so get...
And from what Lorelei told us, for those of you that don't already know the story, we're looking for an operative of Atlas's, Reese's agent, so to speak. And it ends up being a familiar face. Not the one that I thought it was, even though I had heard about this prior, like when Borderlands 3 first came out, and I completely forgot. So, it was a fun surprise. Moxxi's Bouncing Pear doing absolute work again. Hold your applause. I know, I'm absolute best at aiming. But this is when I start using the shotgun more, and I didn't realize until afterwards that it also has like an ammo replenishing feature to it. So I excessively reload more than I need to, like it's a Modern Warfare 2 you know, throwback back when I was playing COD. But for the most part, this shotgun gets a lot of mileage out of it, and it was absolutely worth like with $1,000 or something that I paid for it from Marcus. It has held its own, and I don't see any reason why it's going to stop at this point. Like I said, I will include, like I said, a lot of these like small combat interactions, but a lot of it is just the same thing over and over. I'm hoping that changes, at least later in the game, because as much as I love killing a bunch of enemies, at some point when it's the same, you know, enemy with no variety. And I'm also completely surprised at the actual enemy combat AI here, that I walked up right in front of them before it even started reacting. And then one final interaction here between the enemies trying to do one final stand, not knowing with who they interact with, to meet our friendly face Reese.
Wartime General of Atlas Corporation. Just a quick question. Who the hell is this and how did you get on my secure line?
I would imagine that's a very good question to ask in most cases.
Taken back watershed base with a little help. I've got... Hang about. What is that thing on your face?
Oh, this? This is my siege mustache. The troops love it. Anyway, who's your friend?
It's important to keep morale up.
Guess I'm a vault
Reese
hunter
is
now.
truly a
And a
family
crimson
man here.
raider. And a handsome bastard. I'm a lot of things.
Vault hunter. Crimson. Holy crap, yes! Oh, how many troops did you bring? 20,000? 50,000?
You don't need all that. I'm a one-man armada.
What? Oh, come on! I can't take back this city with a single-digit army!
They're good, Reese. Really good. And we need all the help we can get. Bandits are pouring into the city, and they're working with Maliwan. Looks like Katagawa's made a deal with the Calypsos.
Perfect. Everybody's just piling on.
And if you'll notice there was a excessive cut. However, the Calypso twins started speaking and my ears started to bleed. I also cut out a lot of the cycle driving just because there's not a whole lot to it. And this was an intentional death here just to showcase the power of the shotgun. Absolutely not. Just my inability to look at my health bar. But like I said, the shotgun completely holds its own in this level bracket, and I would imagine I'll probably continue to use it until probably close to 20. But off in the distance, we meet our next familiar face, our boy Zero. Always willing to put on a show for the crowd. Look at that fan appreciation right there.
Hello, Vault Hunter. Let's ruin Maliwan's day. Our mission begins.
I know that fella. We went to the same assassin bars.
That's Zero. He used to be a Crimson Raider like you. Wondered where he'd ended up.
After going through the gate here, Zero gets us into a Maliwan bot ambush, in which case we completely destroy everything, no problems. However, much to our dismay, causes some anger from the locals, and by locals I mean Maliwan troops. But, once again, no issue, as we have Zero and I have a broken shotgun. So, after we make short work of that, especially with Moxie's bouncing pair, and the odd occasional jump scare from a heavy gunner, after clearing everything else out, we finally get to the loot room, and we get to our first actual upgrade, at least of these 2 episodes here. It's the Stark Melter. I don't find out until much later that it's basically a plasma pistol from Halo.
I'll trade you for it.
And after taking a decent sniper rifle from our boy Zero, and me unsure as if, you know, if they made Zero a villain in this, if I'm about to get completely murked, we find out about Reese's failed bromance of Katagawa.
It's not too late to come work for Maliwan. And you must be the Vault Hunter Tyreen warned me about.
And I will let Zero do the talking here, because I feel like his words have a bit more of an impact than mine ever could.
That's Katagawa, head of Maliwan mergers and acquisitions. That guy is a douche, and he's way
Well said,
obsessed
Zero.
with Reese. It's kind of creepy. With this new upgrade, I can cut Maliwan shields. Stand back and watch this.
Remember, kids, don't ever be creepy. Once again, I think I was still hesitant to see if Zero was just going to completely obliterate me instead of these shield doors. But I know Zero would never do that.
Walls cannot hold us. Now to take down Gigamind. That is our mission. Gigamind is
And before I rudely cut off Zane there, we are looking for Gigamind, which I didn't find out until as I was getting into the boss arena, that it is almost a direct ripoff of Megamind here. I don't know if that was done intentionally,
I will be watching.
but it does an injustice to Megamind, as that movie is absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you definitely should, because it is worth a watch several occasions over. But after topping off on some ammo here, and watching Zero run to his spectator spot, we get our first interaction with Gigamind. He's a villain, but not a super one, as he lacks presentation.
Secrets locked in squishy brain. Hack him with your gun.
And with the next two bosses, both Gigamind and the next boss coming up in the second level, kind of anticlimactic. Moxie's bouncing pair holds its weight and then some, and then I'm testing out the new pistol that I got. But after making short work of Gigamind, Zero applauds us before he goes on to ransack more of Maliwan, and we make our way back to Reese.
Yeah, I got it. But I ain't giving it unless you help us open the vault.
Ooh, yeah, that. It's just I'm super busy with this whole invasion thing. Any other time, it is vault o'clock, baby. But I've got my company to look out for.
Reese playing hard to get.
Your loss. I'm gonna see how far I can dropkick a human brain. My best is 21 meters.
Wait. Oh, okay, fine. I rebuilt Atlas from almost nothing, and I will do anything to keep Maliwan from taking that away. I swear on this company's future that I will help you find and open the vault.
That's as good a promise as any, killer. Give the man what he needs.
I have never seen Reese squirm like that. You're really something, Vault Hunter.
Zane's an expert negotiator.
Hologram can still hear you, and Hollow Reese has feelings. Oh man, this guy had everything up in there. Troop movements, supply lines, scouting data. Looks like Maliwan's been searching for fragments of the Vault Key themselves, and they've got some leads. A planet called Venus?
Venus. Perfect. Vault Hunter, come up to Sanctuary.
Great work. You do that. Reese, out.
And after a small interlude, we're back on Sanctuary, and Lilith reaches out to another familiar face.
Atlas is getting their arse handed to them.
Well, Breeze, when we can. Right now, we've got to get to Athena's. I've got a friend there. We should see what she knows. Claptrap, tight broadcast to Athena's. Call sign Sapphire.
The real friends with the sirens we met along the way.
Lilith, what are you? Oh, damn it!
And Maya, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm guessing you're calling for the same reason Maliwan's trashing our monasteries? Well, I don't have it, but I know where it is. Hey, get here soon or you'll miss all the fun. And by fun, I mean getting bulldozed by corporate murder squads.
Maya. She can hold her own until we get there. She's a siren and as badass as they come. Hell, maybe we can convince her to join us.
It would be helpful to have another siren on board. Besides you, Lilith. I was still counting you.
Oh, more ladies on Admiral Claptrap's love ship. Everyone's looking at Claptrap. Booyah!
Set a course for Athena's, Vault Hunter.
It's a shame that Claptrap's ass isn't the only thing saving us from the deep confines of space anymore.
Maliwan again. These guys are relentless.
Drop pods ready when you are, VH.
And to save you from my inability, and a short, brief interaction with Moxie, for no reason in particular other than just meeting familiar faces on the deck. We finally make our way over to Ellie and start the opening cutscene to Athena's. Corporate murder squads just aren't what they used to be.
You're here! Right in time for a fight. I'm Maya. Come find me in the market quarter. A battalion of Maliwan troops are trampling my home, and I'd appreciate some help. You know, killing them.
And this is where the second episode was starting off here. But again, there was a lot of walking and a lot of absolutely nothing that led into our first interaction with the corporate murder squads.
Clear out those troops.
And I started realizing that I could then charge up a lot of these shots. Hence being my realization of the plasma pistol from Halo. But again, the shotgun is just holding its own. Nothing has really held up to this thing. To go from doing like 2 damage to completely melting health bars, whether they're armored or not, was a pleasant surprise. And the peace bells are activated. Maya with a flashy kick.
So you're kicking ass with the Raiders. Guess Lilith had to replace me eventually. Ready for some more action?
I was born kicking ass, and I'll die kicking ass.
Thought so. Follow me. We'll meet up with my apprentice. If she hasn't gotten herself killed. The fragment's sealed inside an Iridian anchor hole.
I'm almost slightly ashamed to admit, but I never have actually played a siren in any of the Borderlands games. And then after running into a bit of an onslaught and a kind of an explosion party here, we start trying to clean up a lot of these courtyards from Maya. As if I needed another excuse to use the shotgun.
Coast's clear.
And another
We're not
interaction
at war,
with our
bells of
favorite
peace
Peace
ring
Bells.
all hours of the
Dark
day
Souls
and
would be
night.
proud.
Kind of a nightmare, honestly.
Hardcore porker.
Naya, where's the little one?
Probably finding trouble.
Finding trouble, or causing it. May the six storms protect you.
And not that you'd be able to follow, but we are currently trying to find
Ava, are you still guarding the library?
Ava.
Maya! Hey! Yes, I am definitely at the library. Because you told me to stay there. Here? Because it's where I still am. That was a...
Not entirely sure what actually hit me there. I don't know if it got reflected or if something just completely damn near one-shot me. But no issues, as a polite individual offered up his services to give me a second win. Moxie's bouncing pair still doing absolute loads of work for us. And almost on par with the Calypso twins, Captain Trout makes several voiceover appearances here. Much to my dismay. I don't know about everybody else.
Hell yeah, Vault Hunter. If you'd been around when the invasion started, we just might have held our own. Now ring the bell.
I'm gonna need some iridium to get into the anchor hold. It'll amp up my siren powers. On an extremely related note, how do you feel about grave robbing?
I'm for it.
Good. There's some iridium hidden in the cemetery. Something tells me Ava's already there. She'll help you out.
Still not entirely sure if grave robbing should be on our repertoire here, but time calls for the need, and that's fine. Not entirely sure if it's included in this, but I did end up finding the Chuparacha, I believe its name was. Not that it did a whole lot. Or Chuparacha, I think, is the actual pronunciation. I don't know. But a lot of explosions start going off. Oh, the Chuparacha. Oh, the Chupacabrach. Right. Third time's the charm. And thankfully, I'm able to kill at least something else, otherwise that'd be kind of an embarrassing way to die. Shortly after hearing from our favorite friend Hammerlock again. Absolutely not being salty in the slightest to hunt down that last flying rat. And start clearing our way at least up to the graveyard gates to meet up with Ava. Moxie's bouncing pair with another appearance. Not entirely sure what the dog was doing.
Cool if I take this. Thanks, later.
I'm assuming it's probably close enough to permission.
Oh, hey, I was just out here looting corpses.
And this is one instance that I'm
Like Maya used to be.
kind of happy that they added revival features, at least to Ava here, because there is a lot more in this courtyard than I anticipated.
I like it.
I ran in, guns blazing, and it completely backfired on me, but,
I'm gonna be a Vault Hunter too.
you know, it's what would be the fun in trying to play scared, at least. Because there's not really a consequence other than hemorrhaging money like I do later in this episode. But Ava opens the gate for us, at least so that we can open a few crypts to find some iridium, even though I have plenty already, and I'm not entirely sure why they couldn't just let me use my own.
him up, no sweat. What you got, Tomb? You got nothing.
Still not entirely sure if that's something to be proud of.
Maya says the monks put iridium in tombs, so the dead have some spending money in the afterlife. We'll pay him back later. Like, if we're not all dead. Huh. Empty. Weak. But I know a few more places we can try.
Well, I'm trying to keep an eye to see what actually hit me in this. But I'm definitely much squishier than I ever actually anticipated. But Ava coming in clutch, saving me not once, but I believe twice. Because explosions are going off everywhere. Make that 3 times? Unless I get a second wind on my own? Nope. Ava's absolutely carrying my dumpster fire of a game ability. Being lit on fire absolutely doesn't phase her. Just completely built different. One part of me still kind of wishes there's some autonomy, at least with the NPCs, aside from having to babysit them. However, small complaint. And taking a book out of Aliens and Vents, we have ratches and eggs in a crypt. So. And coming to our last interaction here of grave robbing, see a corporate murder squad running from a giant ratch-infested crypt that Ava is not a fan of. So, being the gentleman that I am, clean up the bug infestation and add to our resume the ability to do some spring cleaning of this graveyard for them. And collecting our little bit of iridium here so that Maya, I believe Maya? Yes, Maya can have improved siren powers. Oh boy. But not to be taken lightly. We have a couple more drop pods of common enemies here.
I am done playing games, monks. Get ready for some divine judgment from me, Trant!
Maya wants to have all the fun fighting off Maliwan, but screw that! That Trunk guy is the worst, and I want to kick his dick off myself!
Not that it doesn't cause me some discomfort to even imagine that happening. But she has a point.
Ava, go protect the green
And it
storeroom.
was, oh god, another instance of me trying to kill innocent people because I get jump scared too easily.
All I ever do is protect archives or storerooms or sacred whatevers. I'll see you later, Vault Hunter.
Huh. Ava really took a shine to you. Might want to check your pockets. She was a stowaway on one of our seasonal merchant ships.
And now using the grenades on the correct people this time, and avoiding them myself.
Decided to train her as my apprentice. I've got my book and heading your way in a sec. I'm just finishing up some... Die, you corporate bastard!
Maya showing us why it's a good idea to release our frustrations and pent-up anger.
All right, Ava. Where is it?
Not here or anywhere because I don't know what you're talking about, so I couldn't know where it is.
And my
The book. I can see it in your bag.
extreme ability to parkour effectively and not miss a jump 17,000 times.
That guy's got a synthedope harmonizing module. Sounds like someone won't have an excuse to miss karaoke night this time.
Obi-Wan Kenobi would be proud. We have the high ground.
Death comes for us all! Jufer!
Attention, rebel monks of Athenas! This is Captain Tron again. Losing my freaking patience, so I'll say this as politely as I can. Please consider surrendering while we trample your treasured heritage, just 'cause we're better than you.
And after a lovely showing there of Moxie's bouncing pair, should be cleaning up the last bit of the courtyard here before our final face-off with Captain Trout.
I am through playing games. Unless that game is kill the monks. That'd be awesome.
I was wrong. One more courtyard to clear. Always an excuse to use Moxie's bouncing pair. Even though it may almost kill me more often than it does benefit me. But that's not the point. And after topping off our ammo, we see the final drop point for Captain Trout's encounter. Honestly, I think that was even more anticlimactic than the Gigamind fight.
Ah, he seemed alright. Apart from the old, depression business, of course.
What do you mean, a siren apprentice?
And after
Can't
getting
explain it right
access
now,
to the
Lilith,
temple,
but she's going to be a siren someday.
Maya let us
We'll talk
loot
about
her
this later.
personal belongings, as well as
What's up,
get some
killer?
new guns,
Maya
and then
says
we
you
were
kicked some major ass.
teleported
Ah,
ourselves
that
back to
was
Sanctuary,
nice. I really
taking
feel that.
Ava and Maya along for the ride now.
Don't believe it. Well, one fragment down, 2 more to go.
So what is this all about, Lilith? Why is Maliwan on Athenas? Our key fragment has been a secret for generations. How did they find out about it now?
I'm not sure. Calypso seemed to know more about the vaults than any of us, even Tanis. They knew about the vault map. Maybe they told Maliwan to invade Athenas. They say they're after something called the Great Vault. The vault on Promethea must be part of their plan.
And not
Have
that
to
this
get there
conversation
first.
isn't completely
You
riveting,
will, Firehawk. I'm not sure anyone calls me that anymore.
but our friend Reese is in trouble.
Long time. So, how are things?
Wow, nice mustache.
Thanks. It's a siege mustache. Listen, I'm gonna have to cash in on that Allies card. Katagawa's got an asteroid-mounted laser aimed at Atlas HQ, and he's threatening to slice me in half unless I surrender. I'm freaking out here. Freaking out. And Zero reports the laser's being powered by a vault key fragment. So
All I needed to hear, we're on it.
now we're talking.
Oh boy, Zero pulling it off again.
Reese, out.
Go down there and help Reese with his laser issue, Vault Hunter. I hope Reese knows what he...
Didn't realize until just now that I completely cut out the interaction with Reese. Realistically, all it was Katagawa being an absolute douche. In Zero's words, not mine, and blowing up our only other way up to this base. So instead we were given a Viper drive, which Reese used to hack some doors and get us up to this moon base here.
Uh-oh, looks like there's security up ahead. You take care of that.
Moxie's bouncing pair, once again, doing almost all the work for us. And the rest of the work is done by the shotgun. But on a side note, I do believe at least moving towards at least somewhat smaller episodes, both for processing and everything, as well as just commentary in general, will probably make this a bit more exciting to watch. Not that some people probably don't enjoy, 45, 50-minute videos, but obviously it's a lot of time commitment for them, unless you're just using this background noise or something. But as far as for like creation and everything, as well as just starting to add edits, I believe it is at least for the benefit here. And after definitely not dying to a completely random mob, we finish up at least fighting the last few enemies here, so that Reese can tell us what to do a little bit better.
Nice murdering! I'll find you a way in. Pop a Viper drive into that console so I can hack security and locate the fragment. Viper drive. When your hacking skills need some fight. Viper drive. Bye. Okay, fragment's not far. I'm gonna open that gate.
Practically
There's
sells itself.
reinforcements on the other side, so find some cover and ambush them. Here they come. Enter the base and pop a Viper drive into the security console. Then I will hack in, locate the laser control room.
Confined spaces showing the bouncing pair there does way more work than it should. And after finding out that Katagawa locked down the elevator again, so we can't even go up to him personally, he sticks some of his security on us. Silly heal bot thinking he can out-heal my shotgun's damage.
Take out my laser. It's my favorite laser, Reese. Oh, hey! Yeah, see the whole laser thing. Well, it's just making it hard for my employees to work down here.
The bromance gets even creepier.
Who cares about them? I'm doing this for us, the people who matter, the executives. But you're ruining it, Reese. You're ruining it by trying to defend yourself.
I didn't see that until just now that I got more mail, which I still don't know how to read.
Damn it! He locked down the elevator. Well, let's see. Oh, hell yeah. Some spy stuff. Head through those ventilation ducts. They lead straight into the maintenance area.
And after channeling our inner Splinter cell here, we escape through the ducts and the air vents. At least to escape the security and the corporate death squads.
Better sign those surrender papers, buddy. Otherwise... No, that was my favorite bagel place! Katagawa, you monster! Oh yeah, and that's
Starts with the bagels. Not to mention the frozen yogurt place gets destroyed. As well as Reese's favorite amusement park. If the gameplay was slightly more engaging, I wouldn't have had to cut that out. However, I think shortening the video is probably more to my advantage here.
Yo, CLB, bring me a vault hunter head. I'm gonna hollow it out and use it for a koozie while I'm partying on the Zanara.
And after another small interaction with the children of the vault here, I realized that the Calypso twins were going to probably start talking again.
What are you and FH doing?
Again, thank me later. Didn't have to hear God Queen Tyrene's voice.
Got any more for the meat grinder?
The fanatics and psychos trying their absolute hardest to kill me, all of which respectable. Even with the Modern Warfare 2 strats of bringing martyrdom.
Look at this.
We finally make our way to the top here. At least to open the vent to start attempting to access the giant death laser.
Celebrations in order. Just press the celebration button. I think it's Q.
Coming in?
So, I figured out how to hack Katagawa's laser. And the control room is just up ahead. Hop into Viper Drive. Atlas is state of the art.
Reese, fella.
And my first interaction with Death Spheres.
I mean, yeah, watch out.
Which almost held true to their name. Because I wasn't expecting them to do as much damage as they did.
Garbage. Now die, please. Damn it. If I were down there, I would totally hack that door. Like a cool guy. Oh, wait. I got an idea. I can remote control one of those figures and join you. Pick one out for me.
It was more of a pity death, really. I didn't want the Death Spheres to think they weren't doing their job correctly.
No, that one's full of ratchet turds. Too big. Not my style.
And after expressing his taste requirements for a Death Sphere, Reese finally settles
Perfect. It just screams Reese.
and finds something that he wants to use to hack the door. welcome everybody respawn to the fray.
Voice sounds good too, right? Not changed in any way?
Your voice is like a nervous angel.
Thanks. Think I'm getting the hang of this. So for the record, this is not a probe. Do not call me Reese Probe or whatever.
After failing what I thought was going to be a cool looking jump,
Call me Reese Sphere. Well, that's actually pretty tough to say. Reese Sphere. Oh, I just bit my tongue. Call me Reese Ball. Time to stop that laser and get your vault key fragment. For Atlas. Ball scan complete. That does not sound right. This way is gonna turn Atlas HQ into a duplex. And CEOs do not live in
after making our way through the door, and Reese expressing his fear of having his headquarters completely cut in half, I did my first interaction of the game where I skipped all of the dialogue from one of the, more notable characters, because otherwise I would have sat up top there for about another minute. And tactically dying here to avoid explosions, I swear, and using our shotgun to do the rest of the work that it needs to.
Security, they're in the laser control room. Destroy them immediately.
Just clearing up at least the court down here to meet our final interaction, at least, of the game. Or not the game, rather, but of this episode. And after hacking the laser to shoot down Katagawa's pleasure yacht, the heroes end up victorious, as well as some smooth sax and jazz.
There it is. The fragment.
Not so fast.
Freeze ball! No!
Respawn gone, but never forgotten. And after not immediately dying, but getting cheesed by the giant Katagawa death ball, made my way back to avenge Respawn. And much to my surprise, this was probably the first boss that I actually had to try a little on, purely because he does just a lot of damage. Doing some beautiful parry throws there. And the shotgun showing why we keep it around. Even at long range, it's still doing more work than anything else that I have currently. And after stripping off the armor and weapons of the Katagawa ball, we go to the cleanup phase of trying to do the last little burst of damage here. And after paying our final respects to the Respawn, we go back to Sanctuary to hand Tannis the key fragment. And also figuring out, much to Maya's dismay, that Reese also had the third fragment. And he offered to give it to us after doing some of his taste testing. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is winding down to the last little bit here of the episode. Thank you for sticking with me and putting up with the audio shenanigans that never seem to stop. I swear this should be technically the last time that I have to do a voiceover unless it's specifically needed.
You may leave now.
In any case,
Come talk to me on the bridge.
thanks for watching. And like Tana said, we all may leave now. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.